Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai ki Jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Let's start with Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. That's it. Hare Krishna. We welcome you all for our discussion on Krishna Lila, pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, Mathura and Dwaraka. I want to take this opportunity to thank His Holiness Bhaktichara Swami Maharaj. Few years ago, I came across one of his beautiful seminar on Krishna's different pastimes in Vrindavan, and he gave a separate seminar about Krishna's pastimes in Dwaraka as well as Mathura. The way how Maharaj presented it was, he took each and every chapter of 10th canto and then he discussed it based on the summary that Srila Prabhupada has written in Krishna book. Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki Jai. And when I came across that seminar, it helped me immensely to understand, to even remember Krishna's different pastimes. So I thought maybe that's a good approach for us also to follow. So there are 90 chapters in Krishna book which Srila Prabhupada wrote on the summary of Krishna's pastimes. So the approach we are going to take is, we will keep Krishna book as our main text for this discussion. But as we come to each and every chapter, we can go a little deeper by focusing on few of the verses in those relevant chapters. And the way how Maharaj presented, he presented even some pastimes of Krishna, taken from Puranas, taken from the other works of the Acharyas as well. Wherever we have to, we will also do the same. So that's the approach we are going to take. For today, I thought we can quickly go through the preface and introduction of Krishna book. Prabhupada opens the preface with this famous verse in 10th canto, first chapter, Nivritta Tarshar Upagiyamanad Bhavoshadashrotra Manobhiramad Ka Uttama Shloka Gunanuvadat Puman Virajeta Vina Pashugnad. Nivritta Tarshar Upagiyamanad. Tarshar means all our material attachments, especially in this context it refers to the lust. One can easily get rid of one's material attachments, get rid of one's material activities, qualities. How? Bhavoshada Shrotra Manobhiramad. Simply by hearing the beautiful qualities, beautiful pastimes of Krishna. And what do they do? If we simply hear that Manobhiramad, it pleases one's mind, and naturally one will be able to get rid of all one's material attachment. Now, if this process is so easy, Bhagavatam asks, who else other than a butcher will not take advantage of this? Ka uttama shloka gunanuvadan puman virajeta vina pashugna. This term pashugna is used. Pashugna means butcher. Prabhupada often would narrate a story of one sadhu who gives 4 different types of blessings. Rajaputra Chiranjiva, Muniputra Majiva, Krishna Bhakta Jivava Marava. For Pashugnath, for butcher, he says Majiva Mamara. And then Prabhupada explains why this sage gave 4 different types of blessings. Rajaputra Chiranjiva, somebody who is born with a silver spoon, somebody who is a prince, normally they would follow the ways of material life, indulging in wine and women, and because of that they'll be breaking all principles that are religious, and because of which they will incur a lot of karmic reactions. So what is awaiting somebody who is leading such a life is hellish planet only. So the sage, knowing very well what is awaiting the prince, gives him the blessing. You are currently in the material world, at least enjoying material happiness. May you at least continue to extend your life as much as possible, because after death, your life is very precarious. That's why Rajaputra Chiranjiva, may you live longer. Muniputra Majiva, somebody who is born as the son of a sage, when they are born and brought up in such a culture, they will learn from their fathers, learn from their mothers, somebody who is born in a devotional family. And because of that, right from the childhood days, they would follow the path of austerity. So what is awaiting somebody who is following on this path of Vedic austerity is a life full of joy. That's what's awaiting them after death. So the sage is actually blessing Muniputra Majiva. Majiva means may you die soon. Because as soon as you die, you can encash all your pious credits and you can enjoy. So he says Majiva. To Krishna Bhakta, Jivava Marava, it doesn't matter. Prabhupada once when he goes to Mayapur, my Guru Maharaj narrates this. He goes to the banks of Mother Ganga on a very hot day, cups his hand, takes water of Mother Ganga, splashes it on his face, and Srila Prabhupada says, this is spiritual world. And then he says to my Guru Maharaj, Mayapur is spiritual world, Golaka Vrindavan. If you live here, you are already in Golaka Vrindavan. If you die, you will still go to Golaka Vrindavan. So it doesn't matter. For a devotee, Jivava Marava, whether they are living, they are already enjoying their life with Krishna. And when they die, they will also again enjoy. So it doesn't matter. You either live or die. It doesn't matter. But for Pashugnath, somebody who is a butcher, Ma Jiva Ma Mara, you neither live nor die, which means During their life, they are engaged in a very abominable profession. I don't know if you have got experience going to any abattoir or a slaughterhouse. You don't need to even go inside. I have got experience. Even if you are like 50 meters away, 60 meters away, you will see a very strong stench. You will have a suffocating effect. What to speak of the karmic aspect of it? Big time. You will incur karmic consequences. So a butcher is working in an abominable situation, so even the workplace is not good, nor is the profession. They have to be so hard-hearted to be able to kill one after the other. Tens of thousands every week. Tens of thousands of animals, innocent animals. So their life is very abominable, and what is awaiting them? Well, you can read 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the different hellish planets. So, to a butcher, he gives the blessing, you neither live nor die, because while you are living also, you are going through hellish condition. When you die also, you are going to go through hell. So, you neither live nor die, which means your whole existence is useless. So, here, this verse, that's what it says. Who else other than a butcher? Somebody who kills their own soul. Even though soul is na hanyate hanyamane sharire. There is no death for the soul. Still, because of one's activities, one can stunt the progress of the soul towards the spiritual kingdom. So, Prabhupada quotes this verse to encourage us to focus on hearing about the pastimes of Krishna. And in introduction, Srila Prabhupada mentions this beautiful song which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sing as he goes for the South Indian tour, whenever he goes. Krishna, 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 Hey Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshama. Krishna, 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 Pahima. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahima. So this is the song Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sing as he walks on the road, going from village to village, town to town. So this is a verse from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 7th chapter, 96th verse. And Prabhupada then offers respects to all the different Paramparacharyas. If you go through the Mangalacharan, you would see sequentially. So Prabhupada is offering the prayers to each one of these different acharyas, and then Prabhupada is introducing about the subject matter of this book, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Interestingly, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a chapter in 9th canto itself that's titled Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Exactly the same title as this book. In fact, Krishna Lila starts from the last chapter of 9th canto. So I thought today, because we are going to go through the introduction, We can quickly read some of the key verses, especially the last 10 verses of 9th canto. This chapter, many times when we read about Krishna, when we read about Krishna's parents, Krishna's uncles, Krishna's family is so big, it's very hard for us to understand how each personality is related to each other. I just thought I'll simplify this, but we'll go through the genealogical table later, again and again and again. Repetition is the mother of learning. But on a very high level, Krishna's family, it's given in 9th canto. One of Krishna's forefathers, his name is Satvata. Satvata had many sons. 2 of them are Andaka and Vrishni. Andaka, one of the descendants of Andaka is Ahuka, and Ahuka had 2 sons, Devaka and Ugrasena. Similarly, for Vrishni, one of the descendants of Vrishni is Devamida. Devamida had many sons and daughters. One of the son is Vasudev, and one of the daughter is, take a guess, Pruta, which is Kunti Marani. So, Mother Devaki and Kamsa, who is the son of Ugrasena, they both come under Andakas. Whereas Vasudev and Kunti Marani, who are brother and sister, they come under Vrishni. We'll discuss about them, about this genealogical table later, but as I said, 9th chapter, if you are interested to know the forefathers of Krishna, you can go. It lists more than about 20-30 different generations. The whole 9th chapter is about that. Or rather, the last chapter of the 9th canto is about that. The family of Krishna. In fact, the title of that chapter itself is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is 9th canto, chapter 24. I'm just going to skip that section where it lists the different names of the personalities of different generations. And I'll go to this concluding section where Shukadeva Goswami is introducing Krishna. So this is verse 56, 53 to 55. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 24, texts 53 to 55. The 8 sons born of Sahadeva, such as Pravara and Shruta, were exact incarnations of the 8 Vasus in the heavenly planets. Vasudeva also begot 8 highly qualified sons through the womb of Devaki. These included the first 6 sons were originally killed by Kamsa, and then Krishna brings them back. These included Kirtiman, Sushena, Bhadrashena, Riju, Sammardana, Bhadra, and Sankarshana, the controller and serpent incarnation. The 8th son was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Krishna. The highly fortunate Shubhadra, the one daughter, was your grandmother. So this is said by Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. Text 56. This is very similar to the Bhagavad Gita verse. Yada yada hi dharmasya kshayo vriddhischa papanaha tadatu bhagavan isha atmanam srijate harihi. Whenever the principles of religion deteriorate and the principles of irreligion increase, the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, appears by his own will. Text 57. O King, Maharaj Parikshit, but for the Lord's personal desire, there is no cause for his appearance, disappearance, or activities. As the Super Soul, he knows everything. Consequently, there is no cause that affects him, not even the results of fruitive activities. So why does Krishna appear? But for the Lord's personal desire. He appears because he likes to appear. But then he'll elaborate on some of the reasons. Text 58. The Supreme Personality of Godhead acts through his material energy in the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation just to deliver the living entity by his compassion and stop the living entity's birth, death, and duration of materialistic life. Thus, he enables the living being to return home back to Godhead. Text 59. Although the demons who take possession of the government are dressed like men of government, they do not know the duty of the government. Consequently, by the arrangement of God, such demons who possess great military strength fight with one another, and thus the great burden of demons on the surface of the earth is reduced. The demons increase their military power by the will of the Supreme, so that their numbers will be diminished and the devotees will have a chance to advance in Krishna consciousness. Now we are coming to the last 5 verses. So now here he'll be more specific. To show costless mercy, kalau janisyamananam dukkha shoka tamonudam anugrahaya bhaktanam supunyam vyatanod yashaha. So this is one reason he gives, to show costless mercy to the devotees who take birth in this future, in this age of Kali. Kalau janisyamananam, like a janma, whoever who appears in Kali Yuga, kalau janisyamananam. And what will be the circumstance, or what will be the situation in Kali Yuga in which everyone who is born will be thrown in? Kalau janisyamananam dukkha shoka tamonudam. If somebody is born in this material world in Kali Yuga, especially, even though normally also this material world is dukkalaya shashvatam, it will be easily realizable in Kali Yuga, dukkha shoka. They will be born in an environment of distress and lamentation caused by tamo, by ignorance of one's relationship with the Supreme Lord. Dukkha shoka tamonudam anugrahaya bhaktanam. To such people who are born in this material world, in this situation of distress and lamentation, to show favor to them, supunyam vyatanod yashaha. Krishna will perform pastimes in such a way that simply by remembering them, one will be able to get liberated from this situation. Kalau janisyamananam dukkha shoka tamonudam anugrahaya bhaktanam supunyam vyatanod yashaha. So this is one reason Srila Shukadeva Goswami gives. And simply by remembering, hearing these pastimes as well. Yasmin satkarna piyusha yashastirtha vareshakrit Shrotranjali Rupa Sprishya Dunute Karma Vasanam. What does it do if somebody hears this? Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe. If one drinks the nectar of Krishna's pastimes through one's ears, Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe, Yashatirtha Vareshakrit, even once. Simply by hearing them, which is capable of purifying. Tirtha is a purified place. Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe, Yashastirtha Vareshakrit, Shrotranjali Upasprisya. Simply by hearing. Dunute Karma Vasanam. When we do any activity, any karma in this world, it causes certain impression in our mind. Even after we die, they still carry forward 2 different lives. As we know, at the time of death, if we quit just the material body, we take birth again with the same mind, intelligence and false ego. But when we die, we give up material body as well as, or gross body as well as the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence and ego. Only then we'll be able to go back to spiritual world. So in this case, even if you give up your body, carry the same mind, intelligence and false ego to go to next life, to take birth in one of the other 8.4 million species, the karma vasana will still be there. Vasana means the after effects. Shastras say that if you take a pot that contained liquor, no matter how many times you wash it, if you empty the contents and you try to wash it, once it's contaminated, it's always contaminated. Alcohol is very contaminating. Alcohol is more contaminating than even blood. So, vasana is still there. The effect of that will still be there. You can even smell it. If something had alcohol, no matter how many times you wash, it will still carry the same vasana. Dunute karma vasanam. Similarly, whatever activity, karma that we do, when you die, the effect of that, the impression, subtle effect of that, it gets registered, and then we carry that same impression to the next life. Now, how can we get rid of that karma vasana? Shrotranjalir upasprishya. Simply by hearing. Yasmin satkarna piyushe yashas tirtha vareshakrit. Shrotranjalir upasprishya dunute karma vasanam. So, this is the effect he says. Simply by receiving the glories of the Lord through purified transcendental years, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. Now, the last two verses are even more sweeter because it's gonna discuss about the different features of the Supreme Lord. So 63, 64 and then 65. 63 discusses about what Krishna will do. 64 discusses about how he will do. And 65 openly discusses about Krishna's beauty. So this verse, Canto 9, chapter 24, text 64 and 65. That's the summary of whole Krishna Lila. That's like the seed verses of the entire 10th canto. So this one finishes, he introduces Krishna and he says this is how beautiful he is, this is his activities, and then he starts 10th canto from the advent of Lord Krishna. Assisted, this is text 63 and 64, assisted by the descendants of Bhoja, Vrishni, Andaka. Next time you come across Andaka, who do you remember? Kamsa and Devaki. Next time you come across Vrishni, who do you remember? Vasudev and Kunti Maharani. Okay, assisted by the descendants of Bhoja, Vrishni, Andaka, Madhu, Shurasena. The father of Kamsa is Ugrasena. The father of Vasudev and Kunti Maharani or Pruta is Surasena. Surasena, Dasharha, Kuru, Srinjaya and Pandu. Lord Krishna performed various activities. So this is verse 63. Now 64 gives interesting information. Snigdha smite shitodarer vakyer vikramalilaya nrilokam ramayamasha murtaya sarvanga ramyaya. How does he please everyone? How is Krishna pleasing everyone? If you read Krishna's Damodar Mas is coming soon, we'll hear about Krishna's naughty pastimes. Many times when he is caught, he'll simply look at them and he'll smile, mesmerizing people. And people will also feel very happy and they'll give him more butter. He'll walk out with his hands full. In some instances, he would accuse them back. I'm not thief, you are thief, like that. In some instances, he will tease people saying, what is this butter? This is not good. Do you think I'm so poor that I have to come and steal? Like that. And he walks away, scot-free. In some instances, he would say, look at my monkeys. Even they reject it. Low quality. Like that, he'll walk out. So Krishna passes very funny comments, but he knows exactly what pleases the jiva, what each one of his devotees want to reciprocate him with. So here, snigdha smrite shitodarer, by his pleasing smiles, his affectionate behavior, his instruction, vakyaya, it's given. Vakyar Vikrama Lilaya. Vikrama Lilaya means chivalrous activities. By his pleasing smiles, his affectionate behavior, his instructions, and his uncommon pastimes like raising Govardhana hill. Nrilokam Ramayamasha. Ramante or Ramayam means pleasing everyone. Who does he please? Nrilokam. He pleased everyone. Everyone in the human society he pleased this way. Appearing in his transcendental form, Sarvanga Ramyaya. That's the description that's given by Shukadeva Goswami. Sarvanga Ramyaya means sometimes in material world, if you take some celebrities, people in show business, somebody may be very good actors, but they may not be having good looks. Somebody may be having good looks, but they may have bald head. Somebody may be very strong, but the legs may look very weak. Or somebody may be singing very good, but their body will be very fat. It's very hard to find one person who is perfect in all way. If you come across that one person, that person's name is Krishna. He says Sarvanga Murtaya Sarvanga Ramyaya. How is his form? His form Murtaya Sarvanga Ramyaya. His form is such that each and every part of his body is perfectly formed, Sarvanga Ramyaya. And how is it? It looks very pleasing to look at. When you look at his feet, feet is perfect. You look at his eyes, eyes is perfect. Hair, perfect. Ears, perfect. Chin, cheeks, nose, 23 and a half moons. Remember that? Fingernails. His hip, 3 bent form. Have you ever come across anyone in this world who stands like that? If somebody does like that, you will say, what's wrong with you? Correct? No, seriously. Stand straight. But Krishna stands like this, it looks perfect. Everything, his smile. In fact, 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada actually quotes from Padma Purana, how the entire Srimad Bhagavatam is the body of Lord, the Supreme Lord Krishna. First 2 cantos are his 2 feet, third and fourth, 2 thighs. Goes from lotus feet all the way to the head. First and second cantos are his 2 feet, third and fourth are his 2 thighs. 5th canto is navel, 6th canto, chest. 7th and 8th is 2 arms. 9th, Kanta, it's given, his throat. 10th is his beautiful smiling face. 11th is forehead. And 12th, Shirar, which is crown or the head. So different cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, they are different parts of Krishna's body. And how is it? Sarvanga Ramyaya. Murtaya Sarvanga Ramyaya. His form is such that every part of his body is perfectly structured, perfectly formed, and it pleases everyone. And now he goes, zooms in, introducing. So this is like from far away he's still saying, this is the activity he'll do. These are the people who he'll make allies with. These are the demons who he's going to kill. And by performing these pastimes, he is going to make people to be free from all kinds of disturbances. Everything. Dukkha, shoka, tamonudam, everything. And now after saying all this, he'll slowly come closer. And now final verse, which is the last verse of 9th canto. He says, Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna brajat kapola shubhagam sa vilasahasam nityotsavam natatribir drishibir pibantyo naryo narascha mutita kupita nimeschaha. Krishna's face is decorated with ornaments such as earrings resembling sharks. Yasyananam makara kundala. Charu Karna. His ears are beautiful. His cheeks brilliant. And is smiling, attractive to everyone. Whoever sees Lord Krishna sees a festival. Nitya Utsavam. Nitya Utsavam. Not Tatribir. How is Krishna's face? His face is a festival. But looking at his face, one never gets satiated. One never gets saturated. They want to keep on seeing more. How much more? He goes on to explain. Whoever sees Lord Krishna sees a festival. His face and body are fully satisfying for everyone to see. Interesting. This is the nature of absolute beauty. Material beauty evokes lust in the heart of people. You will never come across material beauty being described as something which is very satisfying to everyone. No. If somebody sees something from a material perspective, anything beautiful, they would want to enjoy straight away. Correct? It just evokes lust. But look at how the beauty of Krishna is described by Shukadeva Goswami. His face and body are fully satisfying for everyone to see. The cows get attracted, calves get attracted, trees, deer, birds, squirrels, monkeys, water, even rocks. Everything gets attracted to Krishna. Everything gets pleased by Krishna. His face and body are fully satisfying for everyone to see, but the devotees are angry at the Creator for the disturbance caused by the momentary blinking of the eyes. Have you ever felt like that when you come and take darshan of Gopinath? Why is it happening? No. Once that finishes, we think, okay, now time for Guru Puja, and you just move to Guru Puja. But look at how Naryo Nara, both Gopas as well as Gopis, how do they feel? His face and body are fully satisfying for everyone to see, but the devotees are angry at the Creator for the disturbance caused by the momentary blinking of their eyes. Even that much, they can't feel separation from Krishna. And they think Brahma's creation has a flaw. And they get angry at Lord Brahma. So this is the description that's given in 9th canto. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This is 66. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, known as Lila Purushottam, appeared as the son of Vasudev, but immediately left his father's home and went to Vrindavana. Now it's describing about his activities again. So last verse, beauty, focused, and now it zooms back again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, known as Lila Purushottam, appeared as the son of Vasudev, but immediately left his father's home and went to Vrindavana to expand his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. In Vrindavana, the Lord killed many demons, and afterwards he returned to Dwaraka, where, according to Vedic principles, he married many wives, who were the best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons, and performed sacrifices for his own worship to establish the principles of household life. Last part is interesting. He married many wives who were the best of women. So these are the queens of Dwaraka. Begot through them hundreds of sons and performed sacrifices for his own worship. He has to establish worship for himself, so he taught people how to do. So in 10th canto it's given, Krishna also would wake up at Brahma Muhurta time and he would sit in meditation, meditating on himself. So same way, here also he is performing sacrifices for his own worship, teaching people how to worship himself, not themselves. To worship Krishna, for his own worship, to establish the principles of householder life. Thereafter, so this is the final verse of the summary. So this whole section, especially starting from 63 onwards, 63 speaks about his activities, 64 about how he pleased different personalities by instructions, by Vikrama Lilaya, by smile, so on and so forth. And then 65 we saw the beauty of Krishna, And especially the last two verses, 66 and 67, describes all his pastimes. So far, it discussed about how Krishna performed his pastimes in Vrindavan and Dwaraka, and now it's speaking about Krishna Lila, Krishna's winding up of his pastimes. Thereafter, Lord Sri Krishna created a misunderstanding between family members just to diminish the burden of the world. Simply by his glance, he annihilated all the demoniac kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and declared victory for Arjuna. For Arjuna to actually shoot arrow, Krishna would just look at people and simply by his glance, he will reduce their lifespan. And when they are about to die, Arjuna will shoot. So they are simply looking at Krishna, they feel liberated. And then Arjuna will easily kill them. So they'll have weapons and everything. But when they look at Krishna, they feel mesmerized. Then Arjuna will easily kill them. Arjuna himself, you will see, he is vouching for how he killed. And that resonates with this verse where Shukadeva Goswami says, simply by his glance, he annihilated all the demoniac kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and declared victory for Arjuna. Finally, he instructed Uddhava about transcendental life. So this is almost the entire 11th canto. He instructed Uddhava about transcendental life and devotion and then returned to his abode in his original form. So this is the summary of the summary. So this is the introduction to Krishna book. So this is the concluding verses. And Prabhupada writes, completed in Bhuvaneshwara, India, on the occasion of establishing a Krishna Balram temple. End of 9th canto. So this is how 9th canto finishes. I'll just wrap up in a couple of minutes. So going back to the introduction, which Srila Prabhupada mentions, so whatever we read so far in 9th canto, Srila Prabhupada mentions about it in the introduction section of Krishna book. And Prabhupada also mentions about how simply by hearing, Prabhupada when he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, in the introduction itself you will actually see Tadvag Visargo, Janataga Viplavo, Yasmin Pratishlokam, Abhaddavadyapi. So you will see Srinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadhavaha. Even though such literature may be full of faults, grammatical faults, the literature that is written about or anything that is wrote, anything that is sung in glorification of the Supreme Lord, even though they may be full of grammatical faults, still they are Srinvanti, heard, Gayanti, spoken or sung, Grinanti, accepted by great sadhus as bona fide. So here Srila Prabhupada writes that verse humbly to say that many compilations that we are actually doing now, as Prabhupada was embarking on writing Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, even though this attempt may have some flaws, and there are no flaws, but Prabhupada takes the humble stance. Even though it may have faults, still great sages and great devotees, they accept all of this as perfect. So same way, here Srila Prabhupada, he lists the glories of Krishna Katha. Prabhupada says the purpose of presenting this book, this is in Krishna book, Prabhupada says, the purpose of presenting this book is primarily to induce people to understand Krishna or Krishna Katha, because thereby they can become freed from material bondage. That's the only purpose. The Krishna Katha will also be very much appealing to the most materialistic persons, because Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, cowherd girls, are exactly like the loving affairs between young girls and boys within this material world. So Krishna knows exactly how to attract everyone. Actually, the sex feeling found in human society is not unnatural, because the same sex feeling is there in the original personality of Godhead. The pleasure potency is called Srimati Radharani. Prabhupada then says, this book, Krishna, which is filled with Krishna Katha, will thus appeal equally to the liberated souls and to persons who are trying to be liberated, as well as to the gross conditioned materialist. In other words, everyone is the audience of this book. According to the statement of Maharaj Parikshit, who heard about Krishna from Shukadeva Goswami, Krishna Katha is equally applicable to every human being, whatever condition of life he is in. Surely, everyone will appreciate it to the highest magnitude. But Maharaj Parikshit also warned that persons who are simply engaged in killing animals and in killing themselves may not be very much attracted to Krishna Katha. So it's very important that one doesn't kill animals. In other words, ordinary persons who are following the regulative moral principles of scriptures, no matter in what condition they are found, will certainly be attracted, but not persons who are killing themselves. The exact word used in Srimad Bhagavatam is Pashugna, so butcher, which means one who is killing animals or killing himself. Persons who are not self-realized and who are not interested in spiritual realization are killing themselves, they are committing suicide. Because this human form of life is especially meant for self-realization, by neglecting this important part of his activities, one simply wastes his time like the animals. And then Prabhupada says, Maharaj Parikshit very much appreciated Krishna's activities for many other reasons. Not only was his grandfather saved by Krishna, but he himself, who is Parikshit Maharaj's grandfather, Arjuna. Not only was his grandfather saved by Krishna, but he himself also was saved by Krishna. So one of Parikshit Maharaj's name is Vishnu Rata, one who is saved by Krishna. By the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, both the sons and grandsons on the side of Dhritarashtra and those on the side of the Pandavas had died in fighting. Except the 5 Pandava brothers, everyone died in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaj Parikshit was at the time within the womb of his mother. And Prabhupada narrates about how when he was in the womb of his mother, Ashwatthama, he tried to launch Brahmastra to kill the Shishu, which is Parikshit Maharaj, in the womb of his mother, Uttara. At that time, Krishna entered in and he protected. Thus, everyone in any condition of life should be interested in hearing about Krishna and his activities, because he is the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. He is all-pervading. Inside, he is living within everyone's heart, and outside, he is living as his universal form. And yet, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, he appears as he is in the human society, just to invite everyone to his transcendental abode, back home, back to Godhead. So this is how Srila Prabhupada writes the introduction. We'll start from the advent of Lord Krishna. As we mentioned earlier, we will take the summary study of Krishna book, and then where relevant or where we need to focus more on the verses, we'll be covering those verses side by side as well. We'll stop there. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Shri Shri Gaur Anitai ki jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath's devotees ki jai. Devotees in Mayapur TV, YouTube and Facebook ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.